Hello everyone, it's Daz, and this week's discussion is on wild animals' behavior patterns altering where they're behaving nocturnal rather than their natural cycles. This reminds me of a story covered about a year ago on this channel about how wild animals were adjusting to urban dwellings because many of their habitats are being infringed upon because of recent housing development, architecture, and construction. And we're only going to continue to see this trend because humanity continues to encroach upon their property. And with this being said, Caitlin Gaynor, who's a wildlife ecology PhD candidate at the University of California, Berkeley, wrote a paper on this subject, and she pointed to the fact that for some animals like coyotes, this can be advantageous because they're naturally nocturnal creatures, and so for them, this is nothing new. However, for animals like squirrels who aren't naturally nocturnal, this is detrimental because rather than hunting during the day and roaming about during the day, they're now doing it during the night to avoid human activity. And by doing this, it makes them better prey for creatures like coyotes to hunt them, and it's altering the food web altogether. And with the disruption from human activity, a lot of this is not just people disturbing them. Even in remote areas in the savannas of Africa, animals are changing their cycle of when they're coming out. A lot of this just has to do with them being sensitive to the noise, to all of the technology, and even to people hiking. Many of them just want to be left alone, and this sort of reminds me of what 2nd Ezra's in the Apocrypha Chapter 5, verse 8 says about how wild animals would roam beyond their haunts. And we're seeing much of this, and I would say that a lot of this is just due to the fact that because humans are expanding out and building upon their homes, they're going to roam beyond their habitats because their habitats are being destroyed. And it also sort of reminds me of what it says in the book of Revelation, chapter 6, in reference to the fourth seal, about how 1/4 of humanity, one of the forms of judgment that would come would be the beasts of the field that would also harm those. And it does seem like that's something that could happen eventually if food becomes scarce in a time of famine, or just they're pushed out of their habitat. And what will happen when these same creatures are no longer afraid of humans because they have to coincide and live with them? And most of them right now are just trying to hide, and they're doing it during the night, but it'd be interesting to see how this all progresses. But I'd like to know what you guys' thoughts on this subject are. I know this isn't the typical video for the channel, but it's always good to cover everything, and animal behavior is always something of interest to me. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you either in next Wednesday's video or next Monday's live chat. Take care and God bless.